You're being lied to when people say that buying and selling sports cards are dead. Because in the last 30 days, I've bought over $525,000 in sports cards. That's why in this video, I'm breaking down the real reason why you should start buying and selling sports cards too. I'll be sharing the market data no one else is talking about, why it's the easiest side hustle to profit from, and I'll show you how you can flip them to make a consistent income. The fact that people think buying and selling sports cards doesn't work opens up the floodgates of crazy opportunity that people like myself and others are able to capitalize on. And this is why right now is the best time to take advantage of this. But before we get into the data, I want to be clear about one thing. I do not talk about things I have not personally done myself for an extended period of time. So let's get into the data so I can prove to you that buying and selling sports cards still works. The sports card market is growing on average 12% every single year in the past 5 years, and it's expected by 2032 to be a $72 billion market. If you're going to put your money into something or time into something, you want to choose something with the wind at your back. And to kind of put that into a bigger perspective, PSA, it's one of the biggest grading companies, in 2020 graded 12 million cards. In 2025, they're going to end the year grading about 22 million cards. That says the market has doubled, or just about, only 5 years. So the point I'm trying to make is put your money into something where there's momentum behind it. And one more tremendous example of this, the first sports card show I ever went to was the Atlantic City National Card Show. I believe the year was 2016. There was about 400 to 500 tables there, and it was small. There were no sponsorships. It was just people walking around buying and selling sports cards. And the last national card show I went to had 5, 6, 7,000 tables in it. So the National Card Show in 2020 had 350,000 in square footage. That's how much space the card show occupied. The last card show had 650,000 square feet. The card show doubled in size, and if you've ever been to one of them, you would see, wow, okay, this thing is just getting bigger every single year. The point I'm trying to make is there's a lot of momentum behind sports cards. Number 2, why cards are easy to flip, okay? There's this amazing thing in sports cards called grading. Sports cards come from packs and boxes. The way all these cards come into existence is somebody opened up a pack or a box, or they got into a break. There's a pretty big online company called Whatnot where people get into breaks, which is something I'll talk about later in the video, but people love to gamble. They love to open up these packs and boxes, and if you've ever done it, you probably know it's a losing proposition. So all these cards come into existence. Now, people like myself and others, what we do is we buy these cards, get them graded, and flip them. If they're in good condition, you'll get a card to grade a 10, and you can flip them in 2, 3, 4, 5 times your money. Just to give you a very basic example of how this works. So a 2024 Topps Chrome Shohei Ohtani refractor. This card, not graded, sells for about $25, and graded a PSA 10 sells for over $200. So the next question you're probably saying to yourself is, okay, well, probably really hard to grade a 10. Actually, it's not. So out of 377 of these cards sent to PSA while I'm speaking right now, 227 of them got a PSA 10, or 60% of this specific card sent into PSA got a 10, and you could buy it for $25, cost about $20 to get the card graded, and a 10 is doing about $200. You do not need to be a mathematician to figure out that's probably a good deal, and that 60% number is just the average. Most people don't know what they're doing when it comes to buying and selling sports cards. So if you have a leg up and you have a little bit of a competitive advantage, and you know actually how the market works a little bit and how to evaluate the condition of cards, you can get 70, 80, maybe even 90% of those cards to grade a 10, and you can make a lot of money. Because one of the biggest objections I hear why people don't buy and sell sports cards is because it's so hard to get a PSA 10. Well, that specific card, 60% of them get a 10, and there's very few businesses in this world where you could take an asset and within 1, 2, or 3 months double, triple, or quadruple the value. That is the most basic way to get into sports cards. It's very low risk, it's very high reward, and it's very predictable. So grading sports cards is a way to make money with sports cards, and it's awesome and it's very predictable. Number 3, I want to talk about oversaturation. Okay, so people come to me and they're like, oh my god, everybody's getting into sports cards, the market's oversaturated. And let me ask you a question. If I show you how to make a successful Italian restaurant, and I have a successful one on 3rd Street, can you not have one on 6th Street? Of course you could. There's so many mouths to feed. The demand is so high, it doesn't matter. You just need to be slightly better than average, and then you will do pretty well. And what oversaturation means, all that is it's just another word for high demand. There's a lot of online offers where people help others lose weight. The reason there's thousands of these is because there's a lot of demand. If there's a lot of demand, demand, it's a good place to get into because most people don't know what they're doing. Most people are average or below average. If you're just a little above average and you put some effort into actually learning the industry, you can make some pretty good money. Some of you guys who are watching this might be a little bit familiar with digital marketing. So drop shipping and selling stuff on Amazon, people say that's saturated, and it is. It's kind of hard to make money. However, there's a lot of demand. If you got into selling stuff on Amazon 10 years ago, it was a hell of a lot easier. There was still huge demand and there was still a ton of people selling stuff on Amazon, but there wasn't as much competition for people actually knowing what they're doing. So sports cards in 20, 30 years right now might be kind of hard to make money. I'm not sure. But right now it's great to get into because most people don't know what they're doing. It's early in a market. And when you're early into a market, it's just inherently easier to make money because there's a lot of room for mistakes. Okay. So getting in early is huge. So there's a lot of demand. In reality, going back to what I was talking about before, there's a lot of demand for opening up boxes and cases and breaking. There's not a lot of demand and there's not a lot of people who actually know how to buy and sell sports cards profitably to make money on a consistent basis. Okay, so don't get that twisted. Just because there's a lot of people in sports cards doesn't mean there's a lot of people in sports cards actually making money. And I'll leave you guys off with this. So I boiled it down to 4 different reasons why most people fail when it comes to buying and selling sports cards. Reason number 1, people are just buying stuff that others don't want. People are buying bad product. There's certain types of sports cards and different types of brands and products that are good in liquid, and there's others that just aren't. So for example, baseball, Bowman Chrome is an amazing product to buy and sell. It's liquid. People want it, collectors want it. However, Leaf baseball and Flawless baseball aren't as good. They're not licensed products. Okay. And because of that, they don't sell as well. That's number 1. Number 2, this is pretty simple. People just overpay. People don't know what they're doing. And this kind of goes back to what I was talking about before, where most people don't really know how to properly make money because it's newer. Sports cards is a newer way to make money. So people just overpay for things. A card will be worth $200. They don't know how to properly look at the data and they'll just buy cards for $300, $350. And a great example of this are auctions on Whatnot. These auctions on Whatnot, I see all the time. A card will be worth $10 and it'll get auctioned off for 40, and my head almost wants to pop off my shoulders. I'm like, how? Like, why are you spending 4 times the amount this card's actually worth? It's just because people don't have the proper information, to be honest. Number 3, this is something I talk about a lot. Timing the market is huge. So most young players fail. It's just how it goes. A lot of the young quarterbacks, like Caleb Williams is doing okay as I'm speaking. Michael Penix is okay. Bo Nix, not that great. JJ McCarthy, not that great. And Drake May is obviously playing very well. All those guys besides Drake May are down in value. It's very hard to predict what young player is going to be good because most young players don't perform up to expectation. Interesting stat, first round NFL quarterbacks, 50% of them are out of the league within 5 years. So people just try and guess who the next great player is going to be when that's not what you should actually be doing. What you should be doing is buying low in the offseason and selling it before the season starts. And you could keep doing that every single season and turn it into a consistent pattern and a consistent cycle. Because right now, while I'm filming this video, it's November. Baseball's very low. I'm buying a bunch of it. I'm going to sell it in February, March, before the season starts in April, and that's very predictable. I'm taking the risk out of the player playing because most young guys don't do well. And number 4, when it comes to grading cards, most people don't know how to properly evaluate the condition of the card, and because of it, people buy cards that are in bad condition, and they'll send cards to PSA, and these cards will get a 7, an 8, a 9, and being able to evaluate the condition of a card is a skill that will change your life. It sounds so simple and so silly, but it will change your life. It changed mine. It helped me pay for school, and just being able to evaluate the condition, looking at the corners, the edges, the centering, the surface, that is how to make money grading cards, because a card is only going to grade a 10, obviously, if it is in good condition. So those are the 4 reasons why people fail. Normal people get normal results. It drives me crazy. Someone will talk to me and they'll want to get into buying and selling sports cards, but for example, their wife is telling them, no, don't do that. I don't want you spending more money. And I'm not saying don't listen to your wife, right? I'm not trying to cause a divorce here. What I am saying is you should only listen to people that have financially achieved where you want to or higher. I would never go to a barbecue and listen to my Uncle Bobby, who has a regular government job, if my goal is to work for myself and achieve financial freedom. I'm not trying to put anybody down. It's crazy that people will take advice from others that aren't where they want to be. And just keep in mind, if you invest in sports cards or decide to start a garbage business or whatever you decide to do, that is something most people don't do. By definition, you are out of the ordinary. When you are out of the ordinary, normal people are going to make fun of you. They're going to say this doesn't work. Only take advice or to listen to people that are where you want to be or above. But hopefully you enjoyed this video. There's a free PDF down below of exactly what I'm talking about, laid out in step-by-step format. It's for you guys. It's free. Click the link in the description. Go and get it. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.